Anyway, let's get started. I don't see any development update. Do we
Well,
have none this week or?
Ricky's at the
Yes.
he's in Buenos Aires, but Kadir.
Okay.
Oh no, go ahead. If you spoke to Ricky today, I didn't. So
No.
maybe.
I was just
Okay.
realizing that's why Ricky's not here to give us an update because he's not here.
Okay. All right. All right. Then let me give you an update on this. So we just completed the or about to complete the 2012.7 sprint, and I will put the link in here just in a few minutes. Also, we started the unification work on the search engine part. So we'll start doing that, and very soon, hopefully, we will have unified search, which means KB articles and forum posts ranked and ranked properly instead of being in buckets. One thing to keep in mind is that this sprint will be rather short because the dev team is having an all hands. It's Mozilla web developers all hands next week, and because Ricky is only coming back tomorrow, that means we have a short sprint, and we will use it for the forum feedback indicator that is going in. So much from development. Any questions?
What's the forum
Do you want
feedback
to?
indicator?
It's on the schedule and also on the roadmap if anyone wants to have a look at that. It will be an indicator on top of the forum, which basically tells contributors our KPI, like 80% of the questions in the last 3 days have an answer, and like 20 don't. And if you click on it, it shows you the 20 questions that don't have an answer yet from the last 3 days. And basically is an indicator for people, like when they click on any of those and they solve it, they go back to the start page. It says 19 don't have an answer yet. So it's basically a burn down thing.
I can stop counting now as I answer questions.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
And it's
Kadir,
basically there is a yes. Sorry.
so do you want to talk about the work you're doing on the roadmap and the next steps there, and what to expect in terms of time to have discussions on priorities, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So a lot of on the SUMO team or the SUMO team already got an email from me about how I would like to actually do the planning and the roadmap work in the future. I'm still waiting to get more feedback from anyone. So if you have any opinion on that, on what to do there, please let me know. And so as soon as I've collected enough feedback, I would like to do a very first meeting next week and actually start from there in prioritizing our work. So in the very short term, we are already, so the work is already, how to say, spaced out by the, already given by the UX improvements that we're making, by the recommendations from Susan and Bram. But for anything that goes beyond that, I would like to start the process as soon as possible. And I have more actually on the UX implementation very soon. Yeah, so from next week, I would like to schedule a meeting to actually do that.
And the reason to not do it this week is because Rick is not here, or sorry,
But
maybe
Ricky is not here, but I also didn't get all the feedback yet. And as soon as I have that on Wednesday, I would like to schedule a meeting. It usually takes a day or two to schedule it, so it will be early next week.
Okay. Just a heads up that well, Monday might be a good time for it, but I will be. There's a Swedish holiday on Tuesday, so
Oh,
I won't be
right.
there on
The
Tuesday.
1st of May.
1st of May, yeah. No one gets it except Europeans, but and I was gonna say that Monday is the first day for Tyler, so it's gonna be
Matt.
kind of a hectic week.
It's Matt, not Tyler. Tyler is already on board.
Oh, Matt. Okay.
Oh, Matt, sorry, yeah, sorry. Oh, names.
Got a little
sorry.
confused there.
Don't worry about that. Yeah. So one of my things, by the way, that I didn't tell you during the work week is that I am terrible with names, and I mix up names all the time, especially for people that are kind of. They have some sort of, in my mind, they have similarity. In this case, Tyler and Matt represent the new guys, so I mixed those two names up. But it can equally be, I can mix up my brother's names. So it's nothing personal. I do this all the time. Anyway, Matt's first day. Yes. So Monday might be a good day for it, or Wednesday.
Okay, I think Wednesday is probably the best day to do that then. Everyone on board.
Well, and in the meantime, what kind of feedback are you still request? What specifically, what type of feedback are you looking for?
Actually, I asked for feedback about the features that are currently on the roadmap, to actually measure them. So if you have any way to have any ideas on rationalizations for how to measure them, and any numerical values for that, anything that you think would make sense in that regard. That's the one feedback I would like to get. And the other feedback is about the process itself of how to set this. Just to make sure that everyone also watching this knows what we're talking about. So we are in a project that SUMO is in many ways unique in that we are in the Mozilla universe, where we have employees on one side who work on the code full time and on the project full time. On the other hand, we have contributors who have varying amount of time actually being able to contribute to SUMO. And on the other hand, we are also an agile project, so we have 2 bi-weekly sprints. And that is a unique kind of environment to actually have doing product management in. And it's there are few places to look actually for having a clear set of instructions on how to do that. So with all those with the environment in mind, I would actually like to come up with a process that allows everyone to have input on the roadmap, and allow everyone to feel that what they have to contribute actually is properly vetted, and if it makes sense, actually makes it in the product and makes it on the roadmap.
Okay.
So that is what we're trying to do. And if you have any feedback on that, if you have any ideas, then let me know.
So before we move on, could you send out an email just summarizing the type of feedback that you're still requesting, so it's clear what you need in order to move the process forward? For those.
Yes, that was in the original email, I think. But I can recap what I just said. And
just send out a reminder so people don't forget it.
All right.
All right. Thanks. Okay. Any questions about that? Then let's move on to UX. Brom, do you have an update? Unmute. There you go.
Yeah, great. I do actually. I'm trying to. It's not letting me to log in the thing. Let me just paste the URL of what I have, in addition to what Kadir had put in there, which should kind of be self-explanatory about the dates. I also have wireframes that you all can look at. So all of these basically started on paper, and then I just brought it on a computer and then assembled it really quickly, but I didn't put it in because I cannot edit the wiki. And that's the thing that I'm going to add to the wiki, is that the wireframes are actually kind of well underway. You can kind of see which things we are testing. So if you kind of open that document, you can look at, like the last 3 pages, or the last, 5 pages are search facets. And then you can see, our plan with the search facets, like where we put some items. We're also testing a lot of landing pages. As you can see, we're testing the top page. We're testing the product picker. We're testing like the landing page for Firefox itself. We're actually testing different layouts. We're also testing different tasks. So there will be more layouts, by the way, but this is sort of the start that's kind of ready to test. So you should expect to sort of see more of these documents in the coming weeks.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff here.
Yeah, and if you see, there are just variations of things. So basically what we want to test is which wording makes sense to people. So we actually vary it a lot between calling it Firefox, and then there's also Firefox web browser for Windows, Mac, and Linux. Different variations. So we're going to be testing which one makes the most sense to people. I don't think it's going to be the shortest one. Just calling it Firefox is probably not helpful, but we'll test. Like if Firefox makes sense to people, then there's no reason to make it longer. So, but there's only kind of one way that we will know is that we'll have to test it with people. But yeah, and they do look rough, by the way, for a reason, so that people don't criticize the look of the design. Yeah. So this is why all the lines are actually crooked. So
makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, just to add to that, the actual schedule of what will happen when is in the wiki. So the next step is for Susan to gather testers or real people, get them in an office, and do the actual testing, which Bram will be providing, the paper prototypes, which Bram will be providing. And as we have that, as soon as that is done, they will come up with wireframes that a visual designer will turn into mockups and that we will implement.
Yeah.
And the schedule for that is in the wiki.
Yeah, and the contract for phase 3 is also, it's not in the wiki, but the contract for phase 3 is also finalized, I think. So they're just waiting to sign it either this week or next week. So as soon as that happens, we can actually start recruiting, because that's kind of what's keeping us from doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Exciting. It's nice to see some visible progress here. Very exciting to see about the outcome of these the tests. Any questions for Bram? All right. Over to Roundtable. Thanks, Bram, by the way. I didn't mix up your name.
Yay.
So sometimes. One thing, Roundtable, that I have is Cheng. Your jam is wonderful. I forgot to say it was really good. I don't know if you everyone got different flavors, right?
Yeah, everyone got something different.
So I may ask for more.
All right, no problem.
Anyway, it's really good.
Pick it up when you get here.
Yeah. Well, it's just a couple of weeks from now, isn't it?
Yep.
But more on that later. Once you come back from Hawaii.
Yep.
Okay, so Roundtable, I don't see a lot. I see one item. Can we? I'm reading here. Can we get an update on when SUMO will have browser ID installed? This is about logging in as a contributor, I guess.
Well, or
yeah, partially. We don't have different types of logins for contributors or for normal users. So
That's
to
true,
answer
sorry.
that, not anytime soon. So we tried to actually get that in. The first time there were some glitches. One of the problems being that people need to have JavaScript on, and otherwise it won't work. And if for whatever reason we need to tell people to turn it off and test something, they won't be able to log in anymore. That being one issue. The other issue being that so our web property gets a lot of unexperienced users. So it's not the best idea to test a new login mechanism with a support website. We have other properties, Mozilla properties, that are testing that currently. MDN is one of those, and hopefully we can learn from their experience with this and implement this with our service sometime later this year. But it's not a top priority right now for us.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would tie it into the goal of making it easier to use the site and post a question as a user. So if it turns out that it is indeed easier, then that should be a high priority.
Yes, but we already looked into that, and the thing is that people will always have to register, right? Unless they already have a browser ID, which is probably currently not the case. So registering always means is basically the same thing that we have today. It also means that they have to complete the process on a different page. So unfortunately, today, it doesn't make registration easier. Hopefully one day when it's very common, actually, when people usually have an account, then it will basically be a short process. But until then, this doesn't make it any easier.
I guess to clarify what I meant is that the way I would approach it is to try to solve the problem and make it easy for people to post a question. And then I don't know if the solution is open,
Oh,
you know,
okay, yeah, I know what
browser
you
ID,
mean.
or if it's
Okay.
it might be something else. It might be that even an automatic registration process or
Not
something
having to
along
log
those
in
lines
at
that
all.
just I mean
Right.
something that
Well,
just streamlines the process, and that should be the sort of the. I guess it's not really the answer to Susata's question because he's specifically asking about browser ID, but I think that's probably the better approach, is to figure out what do we need to do to make the whole sign up process, you know, the process of asking a question simpler, and then go
right.
from there. And maybe the solution will
Yeah,
look very different from browser ID.
yeah, absolutely. Just one bit actually might be interesting for people. So the whole registration thing where people have to click on their email to see their posts actually on the page, we lose about 5% of questions because of people not clicking on the email link, which is not awesome, but not really horrible. But there are probably other steps in the process that need to be optimized.
Yeah.
Um,
So
if you before you move on, if you refresh, Satdev added another thing, a bug that he wants to discuss. I'm not sure what he wants to
what is
discuss
that?
about it, but
I'm trying to load the page. Can you read it out loud, Michael?
the bug is 732204. Something about making the sidebar text easier for people to read, so both Brahm and Kadir have commented in it. I don't know if you can summarize what the
So
issue is.
Satdev, I think, yeah, it's about the sidebar and whether it is legible and readable. Readable for people with
Disabilities.
accessibility issues. But to be honest, I would rather talk about that in that bug, Satdev. I think I made the last comment. So if you have any questions or anything regarding that, or if you can comment on my part, that would be more helpful, I guess. I don't have anything more to add at this moment.
Okay. Yeah. So Sata, please discuss the bug in Mozilla, I guess. All right. Any other roundtable topics? No? Nothing? People doing well? Happy? All right. Let's move on then. Firefox status update.
Really
Check, you have it?
quickly, I didn't get my edit in because I didn't have internet. Is that Firefox 12 releases tomorrow, and there are no major issues that I can see. Although I'm going through the list of bugs today, but there are a few new crashes, and so we have no idea how many people these new crashes are going to affect.
Okay.
So there's the possibility that we will chem spill for a crash if it turns out to be major.
One thing to add about issues. So it's not really a Firefox 12 issue, but there's a note about it in this under the knowledge base and the support forum sections. But Firefox 3.6 is we're no longer is gone, so it's potentially insecure as soon as tomorrow. And then we will Firefox 12 will be the last release that supports Windows 2000 and Windows XP, the original version, and Service Pack 1. And so there's articles for those, and yeah. And if you look, there's a support forum thread, and there's a link where I summed up the recommendations from all of those articles about what to tell people. One of which should not be, don't tell people to use the ESR thing. Yeah.
Do not tell people to use the ESR.
Do we have an article for this? Do we have the official recommendations in an article?
Well,
Yes,
so we
like
have them in separate
6
articles. We have like 4 different articles, depending on what in the world the problem, the issue is.
Okay. Which articles are that?
Oh, okay, you have that. Okay.
They're linked under the knowledge base thing, and there's a link under support forum to the thread, which is a discussion about all of that.
Okay, I'll have a look.
Yeah, so looks like we really have to brace ourselves for a lot of new questions in the forum, especially probably for those who are dropped now. Like 10.4, I can imagine isn't going to be an issue.
Right. Well, 10.4 has been dropped
Mac
for a
OS
long time.
10.4.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's been dropped
Oh,
since
yes,
Firefox
but
4 for like a year now.
right. But I mean, now there is no updates anymore at all. But then again, it was
so yes,
insecure already.
It's another thing about right. No, you could have been on 10.4 and run 3.6, but now you can't even.
Yeah.
3.6 will just stop updating.
Yeah, but even then, on 10.4, even Apple had given up on that, right? So they were not getting any security updates from Apple, and running a secure browser on an unsecure operating system.
You're also not, all your plugins are insecure. No, you're not getting the latest Flash. You're not getting the latest. I don't know what else, but I know for sure you're not getting the latest Flash.
So this is the kind of article that I meant, though. Firefox 3.6 is no longer supported, so I see that it's already in the knowledge base.
Yeah.
So that totally answers my question.
And so, also, so you know, we are doing advertisements to users that tell them this and link to these support articles, too.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So they get little pop-ups that say, you know, we will be updating you if you're on 3.6 automatically, and if they're on Windows XP or Windows 2000, then they will be getting a little pop-up that says your browser is no longer going to be supported.
So and they can just upgrade to Service Pack 2, so they should not be an issue if you run Windows XP. You just need to make sure that you
right. You need to, if you're on SP1, but like, I mean, essentially, it just links to the article where Michael says, here's how you update to SP2. But if you're on 2000, then you just says your operating system is not supported anymore. But I think Michelle, since most of these announcements will be happening when I'm gone, I think Michelle said she'd spearhead the whole, making sure, dealing with anything that comes up because of it. So she will be the person to contact on all of these things.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And also, this is the thing where
any objections, Michelle?
No.
Except for the disclaimer last week.
By announcements exactly, but no objection.
Also, this is the kind of
Cheng, do you want to? Sorry, Michael. Do you want to clarify that, Cheng? Though
I didn't actually hear. Oh, wait. Sorry, Michelle, did you say something? Sorry.
I said, can you hear me?
Oh, that's better.
I don't know what you mean by announcements. You mean the snippets that go to users? Oh, okay.
The billboards.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the billboards. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All clear? Perfect. Michael, sorry.
I was going to say, also, just, this is, it's another release, and we're still looking for someone who would like to take on, like, breaking issues lead. It doesn't mean documenting all the breaking issues, but it means being the person who knows what they are, right? Like just keeping tabs on what that is. So looking to see if so people are getting this thing about 3.6 no longer supported, but are we just getting a ton of questions like Tyler was that Tyler pointing out, like, how do I avoid getting, how do I turn off automatic updates? Because I can run the latest Firefox, I don't want to, and I want to prevent getting automatically updated to Firefox 13, which is something that we'll do at the end of this whole cycle. So. Yeah. So I don't know if that's something that we have to document yet, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay. All right. Any questions around Firefox updates, releases?
Thanks for doing those articles, Michael and Cheng.
They were
Thanks for getting things ready.
Crazy complicated.
I'll be calling on the rest of you next week.
Yeah. Well, what help do you need? Let us.
I mean, I'm just going to need help with feedback triage from everyone who has available cycles. Basically, tell me what you're reading.
Yeah, Michelle, I think pretty much my my whole week is going to be dedicated to helping you. So just let me know.
Yay, that's great.
And if you have
Tyler,
questions,
I'm looking at you.
I think I have worked out the various upgrade, non-upgrade scenarios now. So if you have questions, I think I've probably already worked through whatever that is about that.
And I'll be available.
Have you made a video of that?
So.
I have not made a video.
Okay.
Tyler, were you saying something?
I was just telling Michelle I'll be available next week for that as well. So.
Yay.
Perfect.
It's under control, Chang.
It's under control. You can relax, but you won't. I know that. Cheng told me last week about his plans for the vacation. It's
right,
all
the way to the top of the head, Cheng. Oh.
Yeah. All right, metrics.
All right, for metrics, this time I have a number of questions. So first of all, a reminder. Again, so if there are any metrics that you would like to see that are currently not on any of the 3 dashboards that I mentioned the last time, please let us know so that we can make sure they end up somewhere automated. Or at least we continue tracking them in a way. Otherwise, we are probably going to drop at least a Google Doc for now from this list. That's the one announcement. Then I have a question, one for Ibai and one for Cheng. Ibai, you mentioned that the Google Analytics or Mozilla is actually considering moving to Google Analytics. Do you know any schedule around that? What's happening there? Or anyone I could talk to about this?
We don't have dates yet. We need approval from the community, from governance, as a first step. So nothing is set on paper. The willingness is at the company, and I already talked to the project manager that SUMO will be interested in driving the first implementation as a success story that we can share with the rest of the teams. But the idea is that we need approval from governance first, and until we have that approval, we don't know. It should happen soon, but it has been happening soon for several weeks already. Now we're waiting for there's a couple of people that need to review the post that is going to that mailing list. As soon as you will see that. As soon as it's approved, it's going to be communicated.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if it still makes sense to instrument anything on web trends, or whether we should rather wait for Google Analytics.
Okay, the plan for that I thought that was kind of communicated with everyone. If not, Mike Alexis will contact you soon. He is gonna ask everyone just to not keep doing things, because the plan is, let's hold for a month or two.
Okay, so that's the answer to Kadir's question.
Yeah.
Let's hold up any web trends instrumentation and wait for an eventual upgrade to Google Analytics, which should happen soon, and which has been said to be happening soon for some time.
At least it's something super easy that you can do from the UI itself. I don't know if you're thinking about coding snippets or what's the story?
Well, so there is a number of things we probably need to instrument. I had a meeting with Matt, I think on Friday, and he told me about a number of metrics that he looked at before, and that makes sense to look at when we improve our search engine. And some of them require us to actually get data that we don't have from web trends or from Google Analytics.
But
so,
yeah, that's the same story that we were working on the work week about what are the things that we need to instrument in Google Analytics. And basically we could start implementing all those in web trends, but we're not doing it, and we haven't done it. So the thing is that let's wait until the decision is made, and if we're going to have something different in 3 months or in 4 months, it doesn't make sense to spend a couple of weeks now to do that.
Yeah.
Is there any
Yeah, I
interim
agree.
solution that we could apply? Like, is it possible to get some of the data that Matt thinks would be useful for the search engine sooner, or are we essentially looking at just waiting and being blind for a couple of months before we can get that data?
Like, so this is what I told Kadir in our 101 is that, yes, we can get that data, but only basically as a bunch of one-offs. I don't feel like it's worth my time to automate all of that digging through the logs.
No, I didn't mean automate. I meant,
okay.
You know, I just meant if this is indeed helpful search engine calibration data, would it be possible for Matt to get some of that, even though we don't have Google Analytics deployed?
We can. It might not be as detailed as he would. It depends, right? Like some of it might be possible to get from the logs, and it would be some amount of work to figure out. But I'm not sure what the whole list of things are, and therefore I don't know exactly what.
Right, that's true. It's more of a hypothetical question.
So Chang, I know we're meeting later this week, so maybe we could discuss that then. And you know, anything is better than nothing. So even if we start out with you know, not the best, we'll work with that until we can, you know, really get the detailed information we're looking for.
Yep.
Yeah, and just to clarify, at this point, we're still gathering meaningful metrics to look at. There is not a finalized list of things that we want to instrument. We're just still gathering. And I just wanted to figure out like what the status is there, so we know how to move forward. But that's good to know. I have one more question to Cheng actually. Cheng, are we by now able to look into, and actually that is again a WebTrans question, but are we able to look into HTTPS flows, or is that something that is still hidden from us?
So we looked in this before, and I think we decided that actually it was fine that WebTrans was doing HTTPS. It was just the data was missing for other reasons. But I'm not. And it was just that the numbers were so low for a lot of HTTPS pages. It looked like no, we didn't get any. That said, if you like, the logs definitely have all the HTTPS stuff. So.
Okay.
Again, you can pull that information from the logs if there's one or two specific things you want. But another point, of course, is you have to be relatively mindful of the amount of work that needs to go into it.
Okay. So I'm asking because I would like to take another look at the Ask a Question flow. I talked to Bram earlier today. And Ibai, I think you're also interested in that. So maybe we can get together and see what we can do for that in the short term, because the whole thing will not be covered by the paper prototyping, but we can do something in the short term there that they can also test during that phase. So it would probably make sense for us to look into the numbers and then come up with a process that they can test during the paper prototyping.
So WebTrans right now does not track passage through the Ask a Question flow because the URLs are all after the hash.
Oh, that was the issue.
That was the issue with the Ask a Question flow, was every single page in Ask a Question flow is treated as a single page.
Right.
Right, there was nothing to do with HTTPS.
And that's
yeah, I think.
And that's something that whoever did implementation could have avoided, and we will need to work on that with analytics.
Right, so I think it's going to be regardless of what you want to do, unless you want to dig through the logs, which is fine. Like the only other way you can get around it would be to essentially rewrite the URLs in Kitsune or rewrite your WebTrans ticket tokens.
Yeah.
Well, which would be simplest? We shouldn't engineer this. Maybe the solution is this meeting, but maybe that's the next step to figure out what's the cheapest solution here.
If you want a one-time thing and you're willing to do all the data processing, I can dump you that relevant chunk of the logs. That might be the easiest thing if you're willing to go through and count or whatever yourself.
Just run it into a spreadsheet and
like just like one row per hit, and then you can kind of go through and see where the refers are and everything manually for whatever things you're doing. Like if you're doing counts for like specific pages, it's actually a lot of work. But if you just want a dump of everything related to Ask a Question flow for the last 2 weeks, that's, I suppose, I imagine should be fairly easy, although I'm not going to promise anything because I don't know how to get a dump out of the log yet.
That sounds already pretty better than nothing.
Okay. I can send that to you
otherwise,
and Ibai, and then you guys can figure out how. It's going to be a lot of text, though, just so you know.
okay.
So basically, that's what we did uh, several months ago.
Yep.
Then that's what you're
That's what I
proposing.
did a bunch of times a while ago, was to go through and do that specific exercise.
So we have some experience doing it. We can.
Yeah, but it's extremely time consuming. So at least
Yeah.
there's a big.
It was a very non-trivial amount of work to do
We
it.
spent
Well, that's
and
why I'm.
and after that, so it's like I wouldn't like to do the same thing again, just to not take any action.
Well, so that's why I'm asking. Would it make more sense to just change the URL in Kitsune?
Yep.
Would that be a cheaper if we just bump up the priority for something like that? Just file a bug for that and get it into the next sprint.
But that maybe that's not trivial from the developer side.
Maybe not. Maybe not. So we will have to discuss that. But if it is somewhat trivial, like maybe that's simpler than having you guys go through that huge amount of data like that.
I think that to be honest, there is another option that is basically, I don't know if Webtrans supports that, but Analytics supports turning parameters into URLs. So let me look into that. I will spend 1 hour this week, and let's see if we can do that. That will be the easiest way of doing it, like making sure that Webtrans filters that parameter and turns it into a URL.
Okay.
It's on Google Analytics. It's called custom URLs, and if we can do that with Webtrans, it will be the easiest way. We will not have data for the past, but we'll have data moving forward.
So you spend an hour on that, and you get back to I guess primarily Kadir and Cheng on
Kadir and
the next
Cheng,
step.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to move forward on this, I think the thing for me to do is I should just give you guys the dump of the logs anyway.
Well, I mean, what eBay is trying to do is, well, I guess if that's free for you, if that doesn't take any time for you, then you might as well do it. But what eBay, if I understand this correctly, what eBay is trying to propose here is to see if there's a better solution that doesn't involve going through the logs. So
right,
maybe you can just wait and see if that's needed before you go ahead and do that, Cheng.
Okay, I mean, I can wait, but I'm just saying my time is like, I have a deadline by the end of the week, and then you have to wait 2 weeks, right? So it just, if you don't know by, say, Thursday, then you should definitely let me know.
I will do it between today and tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Then we have a plan. Any other metric-related questions or comments, observations? One thing I wanted to say, which is pretty awesome, I think we may have touched on this before, but the curve of questions answered within the last 22 hours is, if I look from September last year to today, I'm amazed. It's a steady increase. It's not a sudden bump. It's not a change in, for example, links on the start page, or it's really our community is growing and getting better and answering more questions, and we're getting faster. I'm really impressed. I think that curve in itself is a selling point for the awesomeness of our community. So I'd like to actually spend some time blogging about that and see if I have some time this week. If someone else wants to do it in my stead, obviously let me know. I wouldn't stop you, but if I don't hear from anyone, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. I think that's pretty great, pretty fantastic. All right. Well, no other questions? That was no question, but any comments? No. All right.
No, I agree completely. I think people are doing an awesome job.
Michelle agrees.
Yay.
That makes me happy. All right. There's nothing on the community. Of course, Madalena and Rosanna attended Moss Camp this weekend.
I saw pictures of people in superhero costumes.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't see those pictures.
I also, it looked like there was
you should see that.
There was some football going on too.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I actually saw that, or football. So anyway, so that's why they're not here today. They're offline. I think that they're taking a day off, but I didn't see that in the calendar. But I remember us having that conversation. So
Or travel.
Anyway, I think
I think it just ended yesterday.
No, they're actually no, they're not traveling back because they're staying there for another few days. So I have meetings with Rosanna tomorrow, tomorrow afternoon / evening my time, and maybe I forgot to remind them to add it to the team calendar. So I forget the exact date, but they're traveling back sometime this week. I think Thursday. So you can find them online probably tomorrow. What's that?
I said I would also stay there if I were them, because the weather in Germany is just horrible.
Yeah.
That's South America, so.
You know, I went scuba diving yesterday and it was 5 degrees Celsius in the water and in the air.
Oh. That's not the scuba diving. That's torture.
That's like
that's
takes
torture.
all the fun out of it.
Well, I got my certificate, so it was all worth it. But I'm looking forward to slightly warmer water next time. So yeah, I can relate. I think they're doing the right thing, and I'm obviously not. Okay, let's move on. Community. That was community. Any other comments on that? Questions? Any other updates? All right. Over to
I guess just
Michelle.
a reminder of the May 10th community meeting on IRC. There's a sticky post in the forum about that.
All right. Thanks for the reminder. Take a look in the contributor forum and see the sticky post for more details. All right, knowledge base. Birdie.
There's still a style guide workshop going on in the KB forums. There are exercises in each of them to do for practice, and to like, here's some recommendations. Let's practice, apply them to knowledge base articles and see what happens. So that's still happening. There's a link there to last week's KB meeting. I put action items and I put it on the next week's agenda also for people who were there. You can see, there's a link to all articles that need to be updated, and there's a native UI kind of tag for all of the ones that are mobile. If you want to help mobile, Michelle, do you have any more current information about when a mobile beta is likely to happen? Just sometime soon.
Do you want to move into the mobile section right now, or?
Yeah, the other thing is just there's stuff to start working on for Firefox 13. It's going to be quite a bit. I haven't pieced together which articles it actually affects, but all the things that are listed in the features for 13 there all need to be documented. So, yeah, that's it. So yes, then
Q.
Michelle.
Yeah. Q for Michelle.
So it's still plan of record. Our crashes are up again this week so they're worried about that. But we're down to 19 blockers. They're all in work week this week, trying to burn those down. But as much as anyone knows is that it will be as soon as possible after the 24th. So.
Oh, wait, can you say that again? It's going to be released after the 24th?
As soon as they possibly can release it after the 24th.
Okay.
So that's not very helpful, is it? I know.
Well, at least it tells me that they're not staying on the train.
It's not going to ship today, essentially.
Will not be today. That's as much as I know. So, but I do think it will be, I mean, I've always been planning on it being in another week. So that's what I'm going for. I think there's like 8 more articles that need minor updates, and then I mean they're still making a lot of changes. So I think we're going to have a download manager. I saw that show up this weekend. So there might be 10 articles now that need updating. So so they're in the burn down, but crashes are 30% per 100 again this week. So they're experimenting a lot with panning and zooming and all the new graphics stuff. So I'm planning on next week, but we'll see. Next week for beta. Our goal is for release in this quarter. We are at risk.
And it
Does
always
that answer your question?
Takes at least a couple of days to build and qualify and push out a release. So if if tomorrow they were like, okay, we finished all our 19 bugs, it still take like a couple of days.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be any sooner than a week from tomorrow. And it could be longer, and we could end up staying on beta for longer than a 6-week cycle.
The official answer is after tomorrow.
As soon as possible after tomorrow.
Right. Okay. All right. That's somewhat helpful. Any questions on mobile? All right, services. And for the sake of clarity, services here means
anything else?
Persona, Marketplace, and a little bit of Boutique Echo.
So Marketplace, I haven't updated, but we continue to de-scope after last Friday. I guess that the announcement will be made by the team. I don't want to make an announcement that it's not driven by the product, because de-scope is like. But basically, we are not on track also. The 26th is not the date.
No beta when we actually we're expecting it?
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
By the way, I can't forget. I forgot about Sync, obviously, for services.
Sync, I can mention a little bit more on that. We're working on the roadmap right now. We did some progress last Friday, but it's still not finalized because we're waiting on Sync 2.0. There is some decision to be made there about what we want to do with the integration of Sync and login to the browser that is driven by Persona. So as soon as that's clear, we will land the roadmap.
Okay. All right. Questions? Thanks for the update, eBay. eBay. Support forum. I feel like we talked about this before.
We did.
Sorry.
EBay, could you also add the information to the document afterwards?
Mm-hmm. I will add the information about Sync.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, also, aren't we doing isn't this week time for Sumo Day on Thursday?
That might be the case. I think Madalena would be send an email to Madalena.
Yep, I think it is.
Yeah, we didn't do it last Thursday. They were traveling
so it must be this Thursday.
It might be that she's traveling. It might be that essentially, I would recommend we ask Madalena about it, because I'm not sure if she's going to run it this week. It could be though, so I just don't want to assume it. All right, that's all. Any last questions? Because of the roundtable, the fact that the roundtable was so incredibly short today, we were able to do this meeting within 55 minutes. Can you believe that? Yeah. I remember the days.
And no audio-video problems. I think that's the biggest contributor.
Yeah, that's fantastic, actually. Maybe that's because Madalena and Rosanna didn't call in. I don't know. But I guess there's kind of a threshold when it starts to deteriorate. Anyway, have a great week. Talk to you guys very, very, very soon.